In the last lesson, we learned some initial bash commands which were focused on navigating and interacting with files and folders. In this lesson, we're going to move on to a bit of data modification and editing of those files and folders. So I'm already here on the lesson 4 branch, and we'll use the ls command to list what I have in here already. And looks like we have a file1.txt. We'll use the cat command, which we also learned, to concatenate out contents of that. Okay, and it just says, hello, I'm file1.txt. And so the first command in this lesson that we're going to learn is copy. And that's done with command cp. And so if we want to copy this file1.txt, for example, into file2.txt, we simply write cp file1 tab for autocomplete, and then the target file to copy to. So we'll just name it file2.txt to keep it simple and press enter. Now if we list out the files now, we see that we have file2. And if we cat that out, we see that the contents are identical to the file1. So that's how to copy files. But how do we actually create files? One way to create files in the shell is with the touch command. And so we're going to make a file3. So all we do is write touch and the file name with the extension. We will ls again, and we see that our file's been created. Let's cat out what is in file3. And since we've just created it with touch, there's no contents in that file, so that's fine. So we know how to copy files, create files, but what about folders? Well, you can do that as well in bash. To create a folder, you can use the mkdir command or mkdir command. So I'm going to, kind of following the pattern of this lesson, I'm going to call it folder1. And you simply press enter. Again, we'll list out just to make sure that we're actually creating these files and folders. And we see it there. And I have in my highlighting, and usually built into bash, is that folders show up a different color than files. So this is a green color. Now, as opposed to copying files, we can also move files around in bash, and that is with the mv command, which stands for move. And so I will move that file3 into the folder1 folder using the move command. And so similar to the copy command, move is used by passing the target file, and then the second parameter is the destination. So we'll keep the file name, and then we can list out again. We expect file3 to be gone. It is. And we can use the cd command from the previous lesson to go into folder1, and we'll list out its contents, and we see that file3 has been moved into folder1. And it also should still be an empty file because we haven't put anything in it. Now, let's say we actually want to edit and change the contents of file3 since it's empty. To open up an in-shell editor, we can use the editor which is known as nano. And so we can do that simply by writing nano and the target file, which for us right now is file3. And I'm just gonna write, hello, I'm file3. And we see here to exit, that's Control X. So I'll enter that into my keyboard, Control X, and then nano will ask us, do you want to save this modified buffer? And we press Y for yes. It also asks the file name to write. We want to keep the original, and so we just press enter, and it should be saved. Now to check that it actually change the contents. Let's cat that out. And great, hello on file3.txt. So far, we've learned how to copy files, move files, create folders, and edit files. So you might be asking, how do we delete files and folders? That can be done with the remove command, which is rm. But before I even type that, I want to mention how to use rm in bash. I can't stress enough how careful you have to be with rm. rm is not like dragging some files into the trash can. When they're removed with rm, they are gone. Okay, so with that said, we're going to remove file 3. And so that's simply with rm file3.txt and enter. We can list out the files in here to make sure it's really gone. And yes, it's gone. And no, you won't find it in the trash can. You won't find it in temp. You won't find it in any directory. It is removed. It is gone. So be careful with this powerful command. So in this lesson, we've moved on to more manipulation commands. We learned how to copy files, move files, create folders, edit files, and delete files. In the next lesson, we'll look at a bit more complex manipulation. That is, only changing specific parts or specific contents of files.